Hey everyone, my name is Rupen Bala and welcome to the third video for Market Munda. Now, I'm pretty excited about this because I'm going to be talking about a stock that, again, I'm super bullish on. I personally invest in it and I see lots of massive potential, and I wanted to share with you all that knowledge, and then so you guys can use it and potentially invest in it if you also think the same. So, let's get straight into this. What I'm going to be talking about is basically a new company called CIIG Merger Corporation. Ticker symbol CIIC. They're basically a SPAC, a special acquisition purpose company. And basically, again, for people who don't know what a SPAC is, it's basically a public company that takes a private company public by merging with them. So in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is what company they're taking public, the super bullish thesis on it, and a couple things to be careful about. And yeah, let's just get straight into it. But before that, I want to share with you all, straight off the bat, like I personally invested around $5,000 in this stock, and I bought this maybe last week. I think it's been like 8 days and I already made almost like 1,700 profit. So it's pretty exciting stuff. I see a lot of massive potential in it. So let's get straight to this. Again, today's video, we're going to be talking about what CIIC is, the bullish thesis on it, some things to be careful about, and where do I see the stock going in the next 3 to 5 years. So before we do that, please everyone just give that thumbs up, subscribe, like, comment for that algorithm. Again, this is a very new channel, third video. It really helps it out. I really like doing this. I want to give you guys advice. The comments in the previous videos are great. So keep doing that. It helps me out. I really like replying to them. So yeah, so pretty excited stuff there. So what CIIC is actually, they're taking, basically they're merging with the company called Arrival. Arrival is a UK-based EV startup, right? They basically specialize, and for people who don't know what EVs are, electric vehicles, but they basically focus in on EV buses and EV vans for delivery, sort of like, you could sort of see like those delivery fleets for packages like Amazon Prime or like UPS or other types of vans like that. But, so what, right? The first question is, okay, they make EV vans and buses. So what's really special about them? One thing is that this EV market, electrical vehicle market, if you're not aware, it's actually becoming very, very massive, right? If you look at the screen, you probably recognize Tesla, right? Wherever you are, you probably heard of Tesla in the news. You probably seen Tesla cars out there. But because of this whole EV hype, all these new companies, these new startup companies are becoming public, right? If you haven't heard of some, XPeng, NIO, Lordstown, Blink, Nissan, GM, they're even old companies are also trying to catch up. And it's not just like cars, right? But charging systems as well, or batteries, right? So this whole like EV movement is pretty big. And I honestly think it's pretty similar to maybe like it's our own basically like .com boom that was kind of in the 90s, right? The space is becoming massive. And I think, in the next 10, 15 years, if you choose the right EV companies, they can potentially make you money. So pretty exciting stuff. Now, why am I super bullish on Arrival, right? There's a couple reasons. There's 6 main reasons, right? One is basically their product and their future product roadmap. 2 is their business model. 3 is just the EV market environmental goals. 4 is like the microfactories and production. So I'll get more into this, but how a automaker company makes these vehicles is the most important thing, because again, that has to do with cost, that has to do with profitability and expansion, right? So this has to be key. And their new proposal on how to manufacture these companies using these microfactories is actually revolutionary. And that's big. It's one of the biggest reasons I'm so bullish on them. We're going to go into the financials, and we're going to also be talking about their previous investors as well. So, all these 6 reasons I'm going to go do a deep dive into. So just sit back, relax, and listen. So the first thing, right? Let's talk about this. Their product roadmap. In their product roadmap, by 2023, they plan to have 4 different vehicles. One is the electric bus, electric van, right? A large electric van, and the small vehicle platform. All these are zero emission vehicles. They're competitively priced to ICE vehicles, as you see, or ICE is like gas. You could think about it as like normal, just gas vehicles. They have hardware and software upgradability. So not only do they just focus on, making these vehicles, but they're focused on what is this term called Internet of Cars, right? Like software associated with these vehicles, right? So they're kind of also being treated as a software company, which is really important for their revenue stream, for their business, right? They also have autonomous ready for different situations. And we'll get a little bit into that, cheap material, but it's durable, good unit economics, and just the whole experience of their cars is actually really nice. Like I'll show you some pictures later down the road, but there you could sort of see it's a good UX. And a really good part of this, and we'll get into this in the Microfactory section, but like all these vehicles, like they are customizable. So, it's not like, oh, you have to make one specific van with these specific specifications, right? Because if you think about it, a delivery fleet can have different specifications, different capacities, different packages. So they can actually customize that in a very efficient and scalable manner, right? And the thing to note is that out of all these different, I would say like EV companies, this EV company is specialized in just these delivery vans and also the buses. So Tesla hasn't made anything like this. None of the other companies have made anything like this except one, but they're only focused on vans, not even buses. So again, I think Arrival will have that competitive advantage, but let's see. Right, and then here's basically some images of like their Arrival bus, right? You can sort of see how clean it is. You could sort of see like the user experience, right? If I'm going on a bus and I sort of see all these stops, I'm like, wow, I think going to a bus is okay. I've taken public transport before, but I just feel like it's definitely a unique experience where it's like, it's nice, it's clean. I easily know what station I'm going at, right? And again, this is all EV, right? So it's really great for the environment as well. And you could sort of see like their Arrival van, right? So you could sort of see like it's clean, it's niche, right? You can sort of also see like the software associated with that. So I just wanted to give you some images to really show that like user experience. And you could sort of see here that like, their product roadmap, it has future opportunities as well. Not only, after 2023, 2024, they have these 4 vehicles, but they're probably going to make more, right? They're going to add more specifications. They're going to go into different environments, different markets, and they could basically like make all those specifications using their microfactories. And again, we'll get into that later. They're really focusing on autonomous, right? So the thing is, not like they're focusing on autonomous in the sense of like depots, right? So for people that don't know what a depot is, like if you go to like a UPS, depots are basically places where they like keep their packages, and like the drivers or the UPS people or Amazon people will just pick up these packages in like a warehouse, right? So and in these areas, like there's a lot of accidents, there's a lot of effort. So if you could just make this whole process autonomous, it just makes things a lot easier. It reduces costs, reduces incidents, and it's great, right? And not only that, but they're, again, as I said, they're focused on software as well. So, by focusing on software, they can have a software as a service or SaaS platform where, they can get reoccurring revenues over and over again based off the different software packages, right? Such as in this example, vehicle health monitoring, fleet optimization tools, right? Driver applications, right? So it gives them that reoccurring revenue over and over again. So again, very big future opportunity. The product roadmap looks really clean, and I'm really excited to see what's out there after 2024 as well. Now, the second thing, business model. They focus on the B2B, business to business sales of their EV vehicles for now. Companies actually order fleets of vehicles rather than just one, because, if you're a consumer, right? If you're selling to a consumer, right, you do see the benefit of just one vehicle, right? Not as much, or you might see that benefit over delayed period of time, maybe like 5 years, 6 years, right? But if you're buying a fleet, if you're, let's say, like UPS, or if you're Amazon or anything like that, right? Or if you're like some government that's sponsoring a bus, right? If you order a massive fleet, you can see those benefits much quicker, right? You can see those cost effectively much better. So they don't have to convince like a consumer is like, oh, okay, like you're gonna save this much money in this many years, if you buy a fleet, if you buy, let's say 100 cars, you can easily see that difference pretty quickly, just more savings. And then two is that these vans and buses on average actually do like short routes, and then they just need to like fuel up or recharge, right? So in our case, they would need to recharge. So in this case, like a consumer problem for EVs is like, okay, I have to make sure the charge distance is good. So if I want to make like a 3-hour trip, it's fine. With buses and vans, they don't have to deal with that, right? So they don't have to worry about long distance charging. So again, a big problem about EV vehicles and the battery capacity, it's gone. So again, like selling to the businesses is actually really key. They actually already have a partnership with UPS actually. UPS has actually ordered 10,000 vehicle orders with an option to add 10,000 more vehicles. And you can sort of see like how it looks, the UPS logo, and it's kind of nice because I got this from their investor presentation. I did some of my own research, but, they say that the annual addressable market volume, right, the TAM for this sort of van by 2025 is 2 million. The van, when I was looking online, something like this, UPS probably paid around $40,000 for this, right? So if you do the math, if you multiply those, the total available market is that this van is just $80 billion, right? If Arrival just gets 1% of that, they get $800 million in revenue, which is crazy. That's a lot of money, right? So you can sort of see how, there's a lot of TAM, there's a lot of market, it's a big market cap, they can get, if they could even get 1%, it's a lot of money. Right? And then here, just going a little bit more into detail about like the UPS and Arrival partnership, but like you can sort of see here, I'm going to read this out loud, but UPS will collaborate with Arrival to develop a wide range of electric vehicles with advanced driver assistance systems. This technology is designed to increase safety, operating efficiencies, including the potential for automated movements in those UPS depots, kind of like what I mentioned before. They're testing it, they're in the process of it, but if they get this out, it's a big benefit to UPS. It shows autonomous vehicles. They're another benefit for that, and their partnership will just be stronger. And then also what I wanted to focus on is that their Arrival is the first commercial vehicle manufacturer to provide purpose-built electric delivery vehicles to UPS specification with a production strategy of global scale. Right? They, going a little down, they would develop a state-of-the-art pilot fleet of 35 electric delivery vehicles to be trialed in London and Paris. So again, I kind of put this down like the summary of this, but one is that, they're focusing on autonomous vehicles in UPS depots, right? Saves time, reduce incidents, right? Good partnership for them. Two is that they have all the configurability, availability ready to go. Right? These vans, as I kind of mentioned, right, they're going to be different sizes. They're going to have different requirements for packages, right? Different cargo capacities, right? So they need to be flexible to include all those partnerships, to include those vans. So the thing is, it's like if they have all these specifications ready to go, they're flexible. If they have another partnership, they can easily make it flexible. So the flexible part is actually very, very important in this. And the third biggest thing is that a lot of these EV companies, some of them, right? So a lot of these SPACs, they're still sort of like making these vehicles. They haven't gone into production, right? They haven't there are a bunch of pre-orders, but again, they still have to be on the roads. This is actually on the road right now. They trialed this in London, they trialed this in Paris, right? And they're planning to expand it too. So it's already been on the roads, it's already tested. So we actually have a car that's, used. So you can sort of see the value of this and sort of see the potential that they already have. Right, now let's talk about the Arrival bus, right? Arrival bus, pretty cool. Or again, just an EV bus that's just focused on transportation. With the thing about this, again, did the same evaluation that I did for the vans, but they say 131K annual addressable market volume by 2025. And I did the research. I looked at the LOI customer, letter of intent customer, it's where you sign just basically a letter saying I'm interested in purchasing this, probably will go through. It's a good sign, right? This bus is approximately $400,000 US, right? So if you do the math, multiply those two numbers, it's $52.4 billion. If Arrival just takes 1% of that, just 1%, that of $52.4 billion, they'll end up with $524 million in just revenue. So again, massive potential, massive numbers. So it's a good sign, right? And let's talk about a little bit about Ember, right? So basically, Ember is basically a Scotland company where, you know, they provide transportation between different cities in Scotland, right? It's basically just a startup focusing on EV bus travels. And, you know, they're really focused on you know, making that travel like very comfortable, right? So you can sort of see comfortable seats, friendly drivers, live tracking, like USB, Wi-Fi, right? Buses and wheelchairs, right? So it's like, it's all for like that good user experience, which, you know, Arrival has. And it's pretty cool because again, like if this actually pans out, you can sort of see that, you know, they can then go to like other like bus companies, let's say like a Greyhound or a Megabus, right? So if they get partnerships with that, then, you know, you're just keep expanding your bus potentials. So it's pretty nice in that sense. Third thing, right? This whole EV market and environmental goal is the next big thing. You know, right now the world is actually focusing on banning the sales of ICE or gas vehicles by 2035 and 2040. You know, we all realize, you know, the whole world realized that, you know, we need to do something to change the emissions, you know, the CO2 levels, right? And EV vehicles are the way to go. Right? And if you look below, like this is just an article that I got from CNBC, but you know, Austria, China, Denmark, Germany, Ireland, Japan, Netherlands, Portugal, Korea, Spain, right? All have targets for electric car sales by like it's 2035 or 2040, right? And even the United States, some states in the United States already have those goals, right? I know too, for example, California and New Jersey, right? Biggest ones, and others will follow, right? As time goes on. You know, especially with the new president, you know, he's a big supporter, Biden's a big supporter of EV vehicles and the environment, you know, and I feel like this is just going to push that momentum forward, and we're going to see more of an acceptance of these EV vehicles in the market. So again, you know, so you sort of see like, you know, massive potential plus the environment, like the market environment, right? Plus the actual environment, like the goals and shifting, right? It's all kind of aligning up for the growth of EV vehicles, especially Arrival, right? So another example could be, let's say governments, you know, really want to focus on electric vehicles. You know, they need to change the buses too, right? It's not just going to be consumer cars. It's going to be buses, right? And then that's where, you know, Arrival buses are going to be really helpful and useful in that case. So again, I could just see a lot of money being put into this company just because, again, no one is really focusing on electric buses. It's only Arrival to my knowledge, you know, and basically like the market conditioning are just lining up well for them. Now the biggest thing I want to talk about is essentially the production and manufacturing with the microfactories. So it's really unique because Arrival has this new method of production, manufacturing using microfactories. So I'm gonna explain all that, and basically after this explanation, you will see why this is so great compared to all these other auto manufacturers, and you could sort of see like the bull case, right? Really bull case with this. So how they start off with, you could sort of see this image, you know, we'll basically use this. I got this from their investor presentation, but it does a good explanation, and I'll sort of explain it as well. The first thing is that they have this in-house plug-play components. Basically what that means is that they have hardware, basically that is configurable via software, right? If they want to make any updates, you know, they can, right? So it's like they can basically put these hardware components in like different vehicles and adjust it via like the software. So like they can plug and play actually. So it's a very reusable way to sort of make these hardware components, right? So second thing is their proprietary composite material. So basically what this means is that, you know, they made the materials for these vans to be very cheap, to be durable, lightweight, which is really good for these vans and these buses, right? Because again, you want the cargo to go down, so you don't want like the weight to be affected by that. So they really thought a great deal about that, and they made their own sort of materials to support that, right? And then the third thing about this, again, sort of looking at this, it's like they have a modular skateboard platform, right? So what that essentially means, and I put an image here, is that they essentially have one solid base, right? For a majority of cars, I think the bus could be a little different, right? Because it has to be longer. But you can imagine for all these different vans, you can have one sort of skateboard platform, and then you just put like different hats, as you want to call it, on these, right? Or like different vans per se. So, again, you can sort of see like the plug play, the materials, and sort of this modular skateboard platform. It's very flexible, right? You could sort of see that they're creating a very generic sort of hardware, and they're reusing it for different purposes. Right, and that's sort of like the whole point of these microfactories, right? Microfactories really focus on that aspect. And another thing I forgot to mention is that it's really focused like robots. Like robots actually like really will make that, right? So once you have those three different things, we go back to this, and then now you go into like the microfactories, right? What is so great about the microfactories? As I said before, microfactories, essentially, it's all robotic, all autonomous, and they focus on building those small sort of materials or like hardware, the skateboard, right? And then basically then they just reuse it over and over again. And it's really cool because, again, it's lower cost, right? It's really highly scalable, right? Because, again, it's all robotic, it's all autonomous, and then it's flexible too. So it can be expanded out in many different ways. Good thing about these microfactories, again, they're really small. And in the next slide, I'll show you like the difference, but they're very, very small. So they don't take that much space compared to like a gigafactory or something like that, right? They can be deployed locally. So they can, since they're smaller in size, they can be put into like different areas. They could be built out much faster, and they could be used for the specific use case in that area, right? So let's say in the United States, let's say in like the Northeast, I'm just saying a random example. Let's say in the Northeast, there was like a really big use of like buses, for example, right? So they could build like a microfactory in the Northeast just for buses, right? And then maybe like in Florida or like in the South somewhere, right? The vans are really popular, right? For some reason, they could build a microfactory just focusing on vans, right? And then they could just ship that in those locations. They could ship the vehicles out. So it's like whatever's the demand is in those areas, they could build those microfactories and get it out much faster, right? So it's pretty cool. Right now they already have 2 microfactories actually, and they plan to build more. You can sort of see, they kind of worked with Kamo, which is a subsidiary of Chrysler, so they already tested this out, it's ready. They already have this. In this, what it is, you can sort of see like the difference between the two, right? So one is you can sort of see this arrival manufactory for like 10 factories versus the traditional factory, right, in Poland. So you can sort of see that it takes, in order to build 100,000 vans, right, 10 factories, right, you can sort of see that one factory is just 10,000 vans. They just multiply it by 10, right? It's 2 shifts, 2 8-hour shifts. It's a lot less square feet. One factory takes 20,000 square meters. This one takes 200,000 square meters, right? And the big one takes like 2,200,000, right? So again, environmental friendly, less space. You can sort of see like the cost of it are much lower as well. And just the time to open a new factory, like that's the biggest thing, right? Since they're smaller in scale, since they have robots, since it's all automated, they have all this software, hardware ready, they can just make these factories 6 months pretty quick, right? Versus a really big factory, right? It takes 36 months, almost like 6 times that, right? So again, speed, efficiency, right? Deployment, it's key to this. And now you can sort of see here that these are like the factories that I was mentioning, right? So you can sort of see here, this is the one in Chester, basically in England. You can sort of see here, they actually opened one in South Carolina as well, just for the buses as well. So you can sort of see, they're building it, they have built it, they're planning to build more. And then basically the last part of their whole production sort of microfactories is, once they have the whole vehicle and set, they really take into consideration the vehicle's like software, right? Again, they built it in-house, and what they do with it is like, think about that as like a software sort of company, right? They basically make like internal tools, like in-vehicle software, right? Any sort of tools that will help the driver or even help the consumer, right? For example, if you're taking the bus, right, they can potentially have an app that'll tell you like, oh, here are all the buses, here's everything, right? So not only is this just a hardware automated company, this is a software company, and they're focusing on it, right? They have 500 engineers. It's not small, they're focusing on autonomous vehicles, right? They're making apps, cloud connected over the air, right? Microservices, open APIs. So they're really investing a lot into these tools. And you could sort of see like, here is just the different images. Sort of see like the app. You could sort of see here's like maybe like a UPS like app that like those drivers would use, right? So a big use case, again, this could be used as maybe additional revenue, software as a service, right? And it just provides a lot of great things for the drivers. Now let's just look into the financials, right? So you can sort of see right now, they're cash negative, but you can sort of see that, their EBITDA, it's going to grow, right? They expect to be cash positive by 2023, which is really great, right? You can sort of see like the revenue is going to grow. It's going to grow pretty rapidly within the next 3 years, right? So their financials seem pretty nice, low cost, which is pretty good too, and high revenue growth. And you could sort of see here in this sort of financials, this is kind of just like the breakdown of their vehicles, but it just, a quick summary is that, you can sort of see that all 4 vehicles are going to grow. And they're all gonna attain profitability from everyone, right? So you can sort of see like how, their buses, their vans, their small vehicle platform that they haven't developed yet, but they plan to like, this is sort of like the breakdown of it in the industry, right? So this gives me more confidence that, they know what they're doing, they have a plan to execute, and yeah, they have a plan to like make money, right? Now let's talk about just like the investors. Right. So investors are pretty big, right? So again, UPS, they partnered with them, right? Hyundai and Kia, they actually were investors in Arrival. So again, that's kind of really encouraging, right? Just like really 2 big automaker companies, they see the value in this, and they're putting their own money into this. And for people that haven't heard of BlackRock is a very famous company, like venture capital firm that like really invests money. Right? So you don't usually hear the BlackRock's name out, but when you do, it's pretty serious. They invest in very few companies, and to hear BlackRock invest in this, it's pretty big. Like they have a good profile, and so it just makes me more confident that, if they have these investors backing them up, there is some value to this. So pretty excited about that, again, just kind of like sense of confidence, like, okay, my money is like, I feel like it's in a good place. And then it's pretty cool. Like I got this from their investor presentation as well, but you can sort of see that how Arrival compares to all the different sort of EV startups that there are out there, right? So you can sort of see that like the things that I've starred and read, right? Like Arrival has like 17%, 47% like efficiency versus like gas or ICE vehicles, right? Compared to like all the others, which, they're very small, right? The closest one is Lordstown, which is like 16%. Right, you can sort of see like their intellectual property. So like their components, their batteries, their skateboard, material, software, Microfactories, they have good IP on them. No one's going to steal it or anything like that. So it's, again, gives me good confidence in terms of that, right? You can sort of see like their global footprint, right? It seems like their global footprint is like really big compared to like all these other different companies, right? Like UK, US, Germany, Netherlands, Israel, Russia, right? So they're expanding rapidly compared to all the others, right? You could sort of see the contracted order book, like the pre-orders, right? You could sort of see this. They have the highest amount of pre-orders compared to all the other startups, EV startups, which is, again, pretty cool, right? And again, you can sort of see like the evaluation, enterprise value, right? Nicola's worth higher, but again, second place, still pretty good on that. And again, you can sort of see the total available market, right? What is their market cap? What is their potential, right? Arrival has the most, as I said before, right? Vans, B2B, buses, pretty big industry, and you could sort of see like the numbers being panned out there. So this shows me the confidence, right? If you had to think about this whole EV market as like, okay, all these different ones, you have to choose which ones are like the best EV ones that, that are going to stick around. Arrival has a good shot, it's a spec play. I'll tell you that. It's definitely a spec play, but it's definitely like, you can sort of see how they compare. And, I feel like on average, they're doing better than these based on this chart. Right? But, I want you guys to be, if you're thinking about investing in this stock, there are some things to be careful about. This is a very volatile stock, I got it around $17 or so. And then literally the next day it jumped to like 50%, went to 32. Now it's like 24 or something. I don't remember. But again, you could sort of see the volatility in this, right? So again, if you're able to stomach the ups and downs, stick with it. I think it's great, but just just like don't look at it, or just like if you don't have the stomach to deal with it, then I don't think this stock is for you. But if you can, great. Right now, again, it kind of looks overvalued, right? But again, think about this as a massive upside potential, right? It looks overvalued because it just went up so high. But if you think about it from a 3 to 5 year potential perspective, I think it's actually pretty cheap right now, right? So even if it's at like 24 or so, like, you know, maybe it's kind of waiting for it to correct itself. So, but I would essentially buy more if, you know, if I see the price a little bit lower, like maybe around like 22, 21, I probably put in more money because I think right now it's pretty cheap. And then again, just to be careful, if you look at the chart, you know, right now it has dropped a bit and it is for a few days, but again, like, that's because it rose around 50% in one day. So right now it is correcting itself. So if you're looking at a chart and you're being like, okay, it's going to go down, thing to note, it is correcting itself. And two, the past doesn't mean the future, right? And then where do I see this stock going in the next 4 to 5 years? I potentially see this going up to $65, $90, right? If the executive team is able to execute, you know, they're able to, you know, get new like partnerships, you know, sell new buses, sell new vans, right? Get the microfactories up. I think the stock can go to $65, $90, right? In the next 4 to 5 years, right? In the next 10 years, I don't know. Maybe I could see this maybe like 120, 130 maybe. But let's say 4 to 5 years as it is right now. I don't want to go 10 years out. But let's say 4 to 5 years, $65 to $90. I think there is massive potential. It's a long-term game. So again, like, you know, pretty bullish on this. Yeah, so, you know, I really hope you like this video. You know, this was my in-depth analysis about a rival CIIC, and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have, you know, please like the video again, please comment. I would love to hear your opinions on what you think about this stock. And yeah, thank you everyone. Hope you all have a great day.